Hello, I'm reading from a copy of Self-Realization Fellowship Lessons that I downloaded from angelfire.com. I'm starting at S1P22, page 3. Preparation and posture. Number 1. Facing east, sit erect on the edge of your bed with your feet on the floor, or sit on an armless cushioned chair, or sit on your bed with your legs crossed, with spine straight, chest out, abdomen in, shoulders back, chin parallel to the floor, and hands with palms upturned resting on the thighs close to the abdomen. Precede the actual practice of Hong Sau technique with an awakening prayer that coincides with your desire or purpose of concentration. For example, for wisdom, peace, and contentment, repeat the following prayer. Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ, Bhagavan Krishna, Babaji, Laharai Masaya, Swami Siriyutaswar, Guru Paramahansa Yogananda, Saints of all religions, I bow to you all. Lead me from ignorance to wisdom, from restlessness to peace, from desires to contentment. Number 3. Inhale slowly, counting 1 to 20. Hold the breath, counting 1 to 20. Then exhale slowly, counting 1 to 20. Repeat this 6 or 12 times. D. Take a breath and tense the whole body, clenching the fist. E. Relax the whole body, throwing the breath out. Repeat 6 times. Parentheses. If you cannot hold the breath with comfort for the count of 1 to 20, reduce the number of the count accordingly. Hold the same count, whatever may be comfortable for you, during each of the 3 parts of this exercise. For example, 1 to 15 during inhalation, 1 to 15 during the holding of the breath, and 1 to 15 during exhalation. Counting in this exercise should be at the rate of approximately 2 counts per second. Parentheses. Number 4. Then take another breath and exhale quickly and remain without breath as long as it will stay out without discomfort, and mentally wait for the breath to come in. When the breath comes in of itself, mentally say Hong, and when the breath goes out of itself, mentally say Saw. Keep the eyes closed or half opened without winking, and gently fix the gaze upward and inward towards the point between the eyebrows. Number 5. After practicing this technique deeply for 10 minutes to half an hour, exhale slowly and completely. Blow out of the lungs all the breath that you possibly can, and enjoy the breathless state as long as you can without discomfort. Repeat 3 times. Then forget the breath and pray, or sit in silence feeling peace. Follow these instructions. Long concentration should be preceded by practice of the technique of energization given on page 5 of lesson 8. Morning and evening practice of the Hong Sau technique of concentration should be preceded by practice of the recharging exercises given in lesson 8A. Excuse me. By keeping in touch with Self-Realization Fellowship headquarters, by tuning in with the Guru in meditation and activity, by faithfully practicing each morning and night the Hong Sau technique of concentration, parentheses, and the other spiritual techniques that you will be taught in future lessons, parentheses, and once a week on any day suitable to you, having a 3-hour meditation period in the morning or at night, you will advance on the spiritual path. You should accustom yourself to practicing the Hong Sau technique with your eyes gently concentrated on the point between the eyebrows. Do not strain the eyes, however. If you are not used to holding the eyes in this position, practice some of the time with your eyes half open, but most of the time with eyes closed. While resting on your bed, lie on your back and watch the breath mentally chanting Hong Sau. Remember, however, that your regular practice of the technique should be in the proper upright meditation posture. The more you practice Hong Sau in your leisure hours, the greater will be the results. Work overtime and you will gain still better results. When you consciously watch the breath, what happens? The heart, the lungs, and the diaphragm gradually calm down, and their muscles ultimately, during a long, deep silence, refrain from their otherwise constant motion. Thus, the normal processes of decay are stopped throughout the system. Then no more venous blood need be pumped by the heart into the lungs. When the heart does not pump blood, the lungs do not have to expand to receive oxygen. Then the breath ceases to flow. You are temporarily living directly from cosmic energy entering through the medulla oblongata. It is always a good plan to drive out toxins before beginning Hong Sau practice. By first practicing the inhalation and exhalation exercises, parentheses, page 3, the yogi burns out the carbon in the venous blood and decay is partially stopped. You will notice that after deeply practicing this technique of inhalation and exhalation for a long time, when you throw the breath out, you have no desire to breathe in again for some time. You can remain longer in the breathless state than if you tried breathlessness immediately after restlessness. Meditation attention becomes free. Death is simply involuntary, complete relaxation. The medulla oblongata, through which life enters the human body, controls the heart. The heart, in turn, is the switch that controls all 5 sense telephones of sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. Sensations cannot reach the brain of their own accord. The sensory messages from the eyes, nose, ears, skin, and tongue are carried to the brain by the telephone wires of sensory nerves. When the jangling of incoming calls stops, thoughts do not arise, and when thoughts do not arise, associated memory thoughts do not bother the brain. When you sit upright, relaxed in the meditation posture and practice Hong Sau, the production of decay and waste is slowed down in the muscles and limbs. And as soon as, by the practice of this technique, energy is withdrawn from the sensory and motor nerves, muscles, limbs, and the heart, no sensory impressions can register on the switchboard of the brain to disturb the operator's attention and coax it to rouse thoughts. This is the time your attention is free to be concentrated upon problems, creative ideas, or God. After scientifically freeing the attention from objects of distraction, learn to concentrate upon any one thing or upon God. You know now that the form of concentration in which you disengage your attention from the sense telephones and turn it upon God is called meditation. You can concentrate upon money or upon God, but you meditate only upon God. Further instructions in meditation and how to meditate upon an unknown God will be explained in future lessons. Thoughts to live by. The moon's reflection in a whirling water-filled pot looks ruffled, but the moon is not distorted. It is the disturbed water that produces the illusion. Calm the water in the pot and you will find the perfect undistorted image of the moon. Likewise, no matter how the all-powerful perfect image of God is distorted by the oscillations of our firm, wrong convictions, if we can learn to calm our mental waves of thoughts by the magic wand of concentration, then we will behold in our mental mirror our perfect, all-conquering soul ability. Our mental restlessness and lack of conviction are solely responsible for the distortions of the perfect image in us. Our celestial abilities lie within us unharmed. It is the waves of our environment-grown wrong convictions and subconscious bad habits that make the powerful soul image in us appear distorted. The man who refused heaven. Long ago, there in India, an ascetic who spent his days on the peaceful banks of the holy Ganges. Years passed in deep contemplation, but the spiritual aspirant found that although he was surrounded by a celestial environment of beautiful scenery and good people, of good books and devotional temple services, his mind nevertheless dwelt on harming and robbing people. The more he tried to ward off meditation, these uninvited thoughts, the more they made forceful inroads into his peace. At last he vowed, "I will not stop praying until I find definite release from these disturbing thoughts which stab my peace during meditation. 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed. Still the bandits of restlessness kept piercing the ascetic's meditation. Finally, at the end of 3 hours, the disturbing thoughts finally vanished from his mind, and in their stead he beheld a beautiful vision of a saint standing lifelike before him. This radiant saint not only appeared to be living, but spoke with celestial softness. Son, in a former life you were a bad man, but before you died you resolved to be good. That is why you were born in this life with a holy resolution to be good, and also with bad thoughts which you harbored in your past life. It is a shame that amidst the holy surroundings of the Ganges and with good friends and regular meditation, you have been living in the inferno of inward restlessness. The saint went on after a gentle pause. According to the decree necessitated by the past actions of your previous life, and because you have not made a greater effort to live peacefully in your present spiritual surroundings, it is metaphysically ordained that unless you work very hard at meditation now, at death you will have to choose between living in heaven with 10 fools or living in Hades with 1 wise man. Which of the two do you prefer? The spiritual aspirant replied, I prefer to live in Hades with 1 wise man, for I know from my own experience that 10 fools would make a Hades of heaven. Whereas I believe that if I were with 1 real wise man, even in the Stygian darkness of Hades, he would help me to make heaven of it. If you have a peaceful heavenly home but are constantly fighting with your family and friends, you are living in a self-created Hades. On the other hand, no matter what inharmonious surroundings you have, if you meditate or at least sit in silence for a few minutes every day and live in harmony with your inner self, you will always live in heaven and will carry your own portable paradise everywhere. Affirmation. I will acquire divinely deep concentration and then use its unlimited power to meet life's God-given demands. Self-Realization Fellowship Lesson. Thy self-realization will blossom forth from thy soulful study. S1 P23. We are one with thee by Paramahansa Yogananda. On the altar of silence we lay the flowers of our devotion, O Lord of Silence. He who humbly twinkles through the stars and breathes through our breath, circulates through our blood, and talks through our hearts, is the same Spirit who is the light of lights. He is ours. To him we give our utmost devotion. Father, teach us to contact thee. Teach us to pray with devotion. Teach us to demand thy presence. Teach us to feel united with thee. No more mechanical prayers, no more empty words, but the humble devotion of our souls we offer thee. With the language of our souls we demand thy presence, for thy presence is our wealth, wisdom, and devotion. Thou art the essence of everything, and we are thy children. Take away the nightmare of evil that engulfs us when we are not awake in thee. Father, we are awake in thy presence. Thou art the light. Make us feel thee and thy presence in every fiber of our being, in every wisp of thought. Father, twinkle thy light through our thoughts and our beings. Strengthen us. Make us realize that we are immortal and teach us to follow the one highway that leads to thee. Awaken our souls. Awaken our hearts, which need to know thee. Be with us. We are one with thee. Prayer. O Spirit, beloved Father, Oversoul of the universe, Spirit of spirits, friend of friends, teach me the mystery of my existence. Teach me to worship thee in breathlessness. Further facts on concentration. Delicate art of breath control. Persons unacquainted with the facts are often fearful of all breathing exercises. The great Hindu masters warned only against the practice of violent breathing exercises by persons with weak lungs. They urge truth seekers in general to follow the guidance of a competent teacher if engaging in any type of breathing exercises. So just as salads should not be tabooed for all people because those with ulcerated stomachs cannot eat them, so also helpful breathing exercises should not be condemned for all men. It is only those persons who are diseased or unusually weak lungs who should not practice them. You can laugh at anyone who tells you that all breathing exercises are dangerous. Everyone is ordained by nature to perform one perpetual breathing exercise, no matter whether his lungs are good or bad. Violent breathing exercises are dangerous, of course, for they can cause trouble even in apparently strong lungs if there is any inherent weakness there. Cast out all fear when you practice the simple, extremely beneficial breathing exercises that Self-Realization Fellowship recommends. When you need to breathe deeply. If you are starving for oxygen because of improper body posture, you need to breathe deeply and to breathe properly. A person who sits with a bent spine and walks with a caved-in chest squeezes the diaphragm and lungs and prevents them from properly expanding and receiving the amount of oxygen necessary to cleanse all the devitalized blood in the lungs. When the lungs and diaphragm do not expand properly, not enough oxygen is brought to the blood. Thus, toxin-laden venous blood in the walls of the alveolar sacs of the lungs remains unpurified and is carried back into the system in this condition. If you sit and walk with the chest out and the abdomen in, you will take in the proper quantity of oxygen. All your dark venous blood will be changed into bright red blood as a fresh supply of vitality is poured into your system. If you want to rest the body, it is better to lie on your back on a hard bed than to sit slumped in a chair with the spine crooked and the lungs squeezed. Use planks on your bed instead of springs, and put a spring mattress on top. This ensures a straight yet soft bed without endangering your health by bending your spine as a too soft and springy bed does. Excuse me. When you don't need to breathe deeply. Eating is necessary if you are starved for food. Deep breathing is necessary if you are starved for oxygen. But as continuous eating is unnecessary when you have food in your system, so continuous breathing is unnecessary when your blood contains a minimum of impurities, owing to right habits of eating plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables and a minimum of starch. Many people breathe hard because they have such waste material in their systems. Calm people breathe less, while restless types who are as a rule eating starches and meat to excess tend to breathe like bellows. Their life force and mind are kept constantly busy by the physical function of breathing with the heaviness and restlessness of the flesh. If you are calm, there is less motion in your body. As a result, there will be less decay in your body and you will need to breathe very little. It is possible for an advanced yogi to remain without breath most of the time. If you breathe rapidly, the heartbeat will be very fast. When you run, you breathe rapidly and your heartbeat accelerates. Decay in the cells of muscles and some organs can be partially arrested by making the body motionless, but assimilative, circulatory, eliminative, and other activities are still going on in the internal organs. Breathlessness and relaxation of the internal organs free the mind so that it can concentrate upon the soul. The higher you go in the study and practice of Self-Realization Fellowship instructions, the more slowly you will breathe. Never forget this truth. Breath is the cord that ties the soul to the flesh. Don't hold the breath too long. Even though one's lungs may be perfectly healthy, it is extremely unwise to hold the breath in the lungs to the point of discomfort. When the oxygen supply is used up, the pent-up carbon dioxide seeks vainly to escape. Because the oxygen supply has been exhausted, the incoming dark blood cannot be purified and keeps on accumulating in the capillaries of the lungs, causing them to expand until they are ready to burst. The result is suffocating pain. To hold the breath forcefully in the weak and diseased lungs obviously would be injurious. Persons with weak lungs should simply concentrate on breathing properly by keeping the body straight. They should be cured before attempting to breathe deeply. Deep breathing is not necessary for such persons until their lungs become strong. Everyone should learn to breathe correctly by always keeping the spine straight. However, you cannot kill yourself by holding the breath too long in the lungs. Nature made the wise provision that when the venous blood strikes back towards the heart from the overfilled lungs, the heart palpitates and fretfully shoots its life current back to the medulla oblongata. The medulla is shocked, producing unconsciousness. Then breathing automatically starts again. You can, however, injure the lungs and heart by foolishly holding the breath. When the dark venous blood has filled the lungs to capacity, it tries to push back through the pulmonary arteries into the heart. This may result in pains in the heart or leakage of valves or in injury to the overexpanded lungs. Therefore, you should never listen to anyone who tells you to hold your breath in the lungs for a long time or to practice violent breathing exercises. Important points concerning the Hong Sau technique. In doing the Hong Sau exercise, do not force the breath in and out. Breathe naturally, merely watching, i.e., being aware of the incoming and outgoing breath, mentally chanting Hong and Sau. Whether the breath remains in the lungs or flows out, always wait until it flows naturally again. Remember, the purpose of this practice is to lengthen naturally the intervals when the breath does not flow. If you are mentally chanting Hong, the breath goes in naturally and does not flow out immediately. Wait and enjoy the state of breathlessness. When the breath comes out again, mentally chant Sau. If the breath goes out and stays out, enjoy that state of breathlessness until the breath wants to flow in again. Then chant Hong as it does so. The breath should be expelled deliberately first as a cue to begin practice properly with an incoming breath and mental chanting of Hong. In ordinary breathing, you are seldom aware of whether you are inhaling or exhaling the breath. Do not regulate the breath in order to chant in a definite rhythm. Let the mental chant follow the natural desire of the breath to flow in and out. Concentrate upon the intervals when the breath does not flow without forcing this quiet, breathless state. By watching the breath, you erase metaphysically the identification of the soul with the breath and the body. By watching the breath, you separate your ego from it, and you know that your body is sustained only partially by breath. When you tense and relax the body, throw out the breath before Hong Sau practice. You halt motion and the resulting process of decay in the cells of the muscles, but not in those of the internal organs, the heart, lungs, diaphragm, and so on. As you watch the breath during Hong Sau practice, breathing becomes rhythmic and calm, the heart is quieted. A restless and worried mind increases heart action. A quiet mind calms the heart action. Any flare of feeling increases heart action. A heaving breath also increases heart action. By watching the breath calmly, you cause both the breath and the mind to become calm. A calm mind and breath slow down and quiet the motion of the heart, diaphragm, and lungs. When by relaxing and casting out the breath, motion is simultaneously stopped in the muscles and inner organs. The life energy that ordinarily is expended in pumping blood through the heart, which means moving a total weight of 18 tons every 24 hours, retires to the spine and is distributed instead to the millions of body cells. This energy electrifies the cells and prevents their decay, making them like self-sustaining batteries. The cells do not then require oxygen or food chemicals to sustain life, because they do not need them to repair the damage of decay. And when decay is arrested in the outer and inner organs, the blood does not accumulate impurities. Hence, it does not need to be pumped to the heart and into the lungs for purification by the oxygen inhaled in the breath. When, by watching the breath, the yogi does away with outer and inner motion, parentheses, in the muscles and inner organs, and prevents the creation and increase of venous blood in the system, he temporarily accomplishes two things. One, decreases the necessity of living by breath, and two, decreases the rate of heart action. When man can live more by the Word of God, parentheses, cosmic energy, and less by bread or breath, and can control the heart, his body battery will be internally charged with cosmic energy and will not need to depend so much upon the outer sources of life, parentheses, food, liquids, and gases. You have now learned the following points about the value of practicing the Hong Sol technique. A. It enables the body cells to brim over with life force. B. It stops decay in outer and inner organs. It slows heart action, giving rest to this vital organ. It calms the heart, which then switches off the energy in the five sense telephones of touch, smell, taste, hearing, and sight. The heart is the secondary switchboard of the senses. The medulla oblongata is the main switch. E. It frees the body from slavery to breath. F. It reduces breathing to a minimum. Hence, its repeated use is conducive to longevity when wants to remain long in the body house. When the life force and the consciousness are withdrawn from the five sense telephones, the sensations of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch cannot reach the brain through the nerve telephone wires. When sensations stop registering in the brain, the conceptions and associated ideas resulting from them ceases. It is then that the mind or the attention becomes free to contemplate any particular object or God. Special exercise. If you have good lungs but suspect that you are not supplying your body with enough oxygen, then the following exercise will be found beneficial. 1. With mild force, make 2 short exhalations of breath through the mouth, creating a breathy sound, parentheses. This exhalation clears the lungs of the poisonous carbon dioxide. Number 2, draw fresh air in through your nostrils, counting 1 to 20 slowly. Hold breath, counting 1 to 20. Slowly exhale, counting 1 to 20, parentheses. Counting in this and other breathing exercises should be a rate of approximately 2 counts per second. Repeat the above exercise 12 times, 3 times a day in the open air, and more if you find it particularly beneficial. The count may be less than 20 or more according to the individual comfort and capacity. Meditation exercise. Feel that you are everything and beyond everything. Concentrate all your energy at the point between the eyebrows. Breathe slowly. When the breath is calm, expel breath and forget it. Behold within your forehead the luminous light. That light is spreading. It is increasing, swallowing up your body and all space. Space has become a burning ball of searless flame. You are that. This ball of flame is very joyous. You are this flame of bliss that has melted everything in it. Meditate on that. Okay, that is the end of Fellowship Lesson S1 P22. I'm stopping now. Thanks for listening. Bye.